do have a couple of I do have a couple of links and different things I will be sharing with everyone. Because I have a feeling you and I will run this the same way we did last time. And we have the same, I have all my MREA notes in my Apple Notes. So I pulled those up from last time. All right, friends, you ready to get going? I know we have a few. If you can put your video on, I would love to see you. I don't care if you're eating. I don't care if your hair's up in a ponytail. I don't care if you have no hair. We want to see your faces. It gives us energy. Been reading all these studies lately that the reason instructors and others are so fatigued on Zooms is because they are teaching to names and text boxes and not your beautiful faces. So we would love to see you if you have the ability to. Understand it if you're driving or if you're hiding and not supposed to be playing us. It's okay. If you're at another job, we know that happens. Also, we are a smaller group today, but we are going to build as we get going through this. If you could hit the mute button, and then when you need to say something, come up of mute. If you are on a desktop and newer to Zoom, I want everybody to go over to reactions, and I want you to click that reactions button. And in there, you're going to see different things. Hand claps, thumbs up, I love you, Brookie, happy, silly, crying with laughter, a wow, and a celebrate. But underneath there, you're going to see raise hands. So everybody go ahead and raise their hands. See what that does? It also pulls you right up. So if you have a question or something you want to say while we're sharing or doing different things, it allows us to quickly get to you or let you know that in a minute we'll be right with you. Click that reaction again and click lower hand to bring it down, and it takes you off the screen. So fun things. All right, let's get going. I am Brooke Silva, your co-host for today, regional technology trainer here at Keller Williams, New England, and I am joined by one of the people that even if she ever retired from this, I would call her every single day, Miss Tiffany Hampton. Say hello, Tiffany.
Hello. How is everybody? Let's wave, right? Awesome job. All right, so today I'm a little excited because we're talking about the 3 L's. We're talking about the Pareto principle, and we're talking about the 8 MREA goals. So let's start off. Who knows what the Pareto principle is? Someone share with me. Talk to me about the Pareto principle. Karina.
Know what it is. 80% of our activity gives us 20% of our activity gives us 80% of our goal.
Right, exactly. So if we spend 9 to 5 and we do administrative stuff and we answer phone calls and we don't lead generate, we're really getting 20% of the work done and not 80%. So it's real easy to fall into that hole of doing the 80% because it's, in my opinion, and it's instant gratification, right? When you get that 80% done, you feel like you accomplished something, but did you accomplish the right thing? Absolutely. Someone else tell me something about the 80% rule. Where do you see that in real estate?
Karina, are you hands up or from before? Oh, now you got to talk to us. And no,
Heidi.
I'm sorry. I thought I hit it. Sorry.
80% of the, no, 20% of the agents do 80% of the work.
Right. And I would almost argue 20% of the agents that get their license stay in the business. Right. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about these 3 L's. What's the first L?
Put it in the chat if you think you know. Put it in the chat. Throw it in. What is the first L?
And don't worry about raising your hand. Just shout out. It's Friday. Let's have fun.
Leads. Leads.
I see leads and I see listings. So which one is it? Is it leads or is it listings? That's the first.
Leads, Because if you don't have leads, you don't have listings.
Right, exactly. So talk to me a little bit about leads. What are you doing right now to really build that lead funnel?
Making phone calls, door knocking.
Right.
Heidi said she's doing new expireds.
Yep.
Somebody last night at the event I was at said they are doing long ago expireds
Yes.
instead of newly. They're doing mid to, I don't even know how they described it. They've been expired for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. We didn't have that conversation, but that's what I do. I go to.
We gave away your secret sauce. Sorry, Karina.
You want me to give away my secret sauce?
No, I just did. The expireds forever.
Oh yeah, I keep expires forever and I go and I look. So yeah.
Actually,
Right.
Dakota said it at your growth call.
That's who it was. And we talked about it last night. I was at Introverts versus Extroverts, a panel in Marlboro last night. Anybody else there? Did anybody else go to that at Apex? It was fantastic. I learned a ton. I am still extroverted in case you needed to know that.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in any fashion. So tell me a little about, not all leads are created equal, right? There's paid ads, there's now leads. I said paid ads, yeah. Paid leads, now leads, there's future leads. When I look at my business, I used to always run pipeline, right? Because I know with leads, I used to say, if I intend on doing 24 transactions, I would want 72 people in my pipeline, because a third will work with me, a third will change their mind, and a third will work with someone else. So every single day I closed a buyer, I needed to add somebody to my pipeline. You know, a buyer popped off, I need to hop onto the pipeline. And Brooke just put the calculator, the lead gen calculator, right? I'm old school. I had paper and I had spreadsheets. So you don't even have to go that far. Literally go to that link right now, type in how many transactions do you desire to do this year, and it will tell you how many people you need to have in your pipeline. Someone do the exercise.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's pop in 20. Let's just pop in 20. Like, you need 20 units this year. That's your goal. Maybe it's 5. But let's do 20 as a nice rounded up number. Because remember, friends, Brooke doesn't math. So she creates things like this so you can be a math genius. And I tell you how to get there. I can math. I just need tools like this to do it. But if you were to ask me how to do this in my head, forget it. We don't see numbers here in Brooke the Nerd world. How many contacts need to be in your database to sell 20 and to close 20 units? Is anybody on the site or using the calculator? If not, I'll give it to you. 2,400. Thank you. So how many opportunities in nurture do you need?
So if we said you should have 3 times the desire, what's the number?
200. Exactly.
Right.
That means you have to attend how many appointments? Just attend the appointments. You got it. 40. Because we know then half of those are most likely to go under contract. So that means you need to add how many contacts per day to your database? Contacts.
Absolutely.
You got it. You
But
got
I
it.
love- Yep.
10.
So what's the most important thing you should be doing every day? And how many of us actually do it every day? Right? Consistently anyway.
Mhm.
That you generate.
Absolutely.
Lead generate, Louise. Yep.
On the bottom of page 99, he goes and he says, if I told you there was an out-of-town buyer who just got in this morning and will be paying cash and needs to purchase a home by the end of the week, could any of you help him out? Everyone would raise their hand, right? Well, right? Well, I guarantee there's a buyer getting into town today who has cash and needs to buy a house. The problem is we don't know where or who the buyer is. And we get that answer when we lead generate, right? All right, next level is listings.
No leads, no listings.
right? Well, and what's the power of listings? When we look at buyers and listings, right? What's the power of listings? If you go to page 102, there's 6 reasons we desire to have listings in our world. So seller listings mean marketing opportunities. How many of you heard for every one listing, there's 2 other pieces of business out there just waiting for you, right? You have more control of your time. I love buyers to death, but how many of you have showed 47 houses and written 23 offers?
Right, Mary? Mary raised her hand very fast. Mary raised her hand very fast. I saw a bunch of other hands go up, but Mary was on my screen, so I saw that one first. And I love this one, makes me giggle. You can tell, even though this was written a long time ago, it's still relevant, but I love that it said newspapers. I don't know about you guys in this market right now. Nobody's putting things in newspapers, but in a slower market or different shifted market, they will. But that one on page 102 always makes me giggle. I'm a newspaper person. I still read it every Sunday.
Right. Right. Well, and, you know, I would have the conversation around, yes, properties are selling quickly. And yet, why aren't we doing every single step that we would normally do to market a listing? Because it's not about that listing. It's about the opportunity that that listing brings. Would you not agree, Brooke?
I agree. And I get so sad when we don't do open houses or we don't get to do those things or door knock, because listings, you control the market. You get to see how many people are coming through, buyers unrepresented. You get to market it. Your sign gets to go in the ground, right? When I see that there's no open houses, I'm always sad. I feel like you're missing out on such a big opportunity to get more people into your data bank.
100%.
Unrepresented. Don't put people in your database that are represented who check that box.
Absolutely. So per hour compensation, right? I don't know, back in the day when I was selling real estate, my per hour compensation was $5.25 an hour. And it's because I was heavy on the list side, right? Because I only worked listings at that point in time, which meant I wasn't out driving around, and I made more money. I had more money and I had more time. You know, volume, I love this one. You can work with 15 to 25 sellers a month. How many buyers in this market could we really work?
It's hard right now, right, guys? How many are we effectively helping every single day right now?
Right. Next one, market knowledge. When you're pricing properties, you have the knowledge, although, I mean, our CMA is even a thing right now. Right? We say we're doing a CMA, we're saying a property is going to sell, and yet who knows? It depends on what the buyer desires to pay for the property.
Right.
And then properly marketed seller listings bring you more business. How many of us know the open house script, right? When you say hello to somebody that's walking into a property to view a property, what is your intro to them? How do you welcome somebody to your open house? I'd love to hear a few of those. Heidi.
Hello, are you a buyer or a seller?
Right? And it goes something along the lines, hi, I'm Tiffany with Keller Williams Realty. Thanks so much for visiting me. Are you viewing this home as a buyer, as a seller, or someone in the area just looking what market value is for the neighborhood, right? Because how many of us just assume they're all buyers? And then what happens when we assume they're buyers? We treat them like a buyer, and they were actually interviewing to see, are you their listing agent? So great opportunity with that. Then we have leverage. Leverage is my new best friend. I used to call, I had coaches and they were like, you need leverage. I was like, I am the leverage. Now, what are the opportunities to leverage, right? What are you leveraging? How are you leveraging it? Who's the who or the what?
Or the
Who has
how.
leverage? Right. Who has leverage in their life right now? You know, the whole thing is we all have leverage in our life right now. It's just how do we utilize it, right? even if you're an individual agent, you have a team, right? Well, same thing with leverage. At the end of the day, if you're looking to keep your costs down, what does it look like to hire an intern and say, hey, I will trade you experience for work, right? There's lots of interns that'll do stuff like that. So who's going to do it? How will it get done? And what will the tools be? And I was on a coaching call. I learned something really great. In my world, I now say, what are the levers I'm going to turn on? What are the systems I'm going to put into place? And then what leverage, how am I going to leverage it, right? So what are the levers? What's the systems? And how do you leverage it? Is it a tech? Is it a person? Is it a company? Is it a hire? What does that leverage look like? What do you want to add about leverage, Brooke?
You've got leverage every single day by walking into the market center. We're back. We're back in person. Our leverage starts there. You've got a whole team of people behind you who want to help you. The other thing is, command is a leverage tool, right? If you're ready to make that first hire, do you know how you do business? And they talk about that in this chapter. It's when you're looking for people, usually we go through a couple. Who's hired an admin? Who's ever hired an admin? Did that first admin work, or did you have to go through a few? Heidi.
I know Heidi's story. Heidi and I coach.
Right? So how would you like it if maybe we didn't go through 3 to 5 first hires when you're looking for an admin, and maybe it was 1 to 2?
Right.
It all starts with knowing your systems, how you do things. We're going to be focusing a lot this year on opportunities. And opportunities is more than how you get paid. It's what happens when I meet someone to the close and restarting that relationship through their next purchase or sale or investment or referral. Opportunities is such a huge piece to take that transactional functionary roles and put them into a place where then you can say to someone, these are the things you need to do. And we haven't really had that autonomy before, and I'm excited about it. The other thing I popped in the chat was the Keller Inc. resources of the task lists for megas. And I love it because when you're a solo agent, it tells you all the things you're supposed to be doing, 192 things you're supposed to be doing. And then the next column for the admin says, here's the things with your first hire you can push off. So freeing. That's leverage right there.
Absolutely.
That's
And what not to geek out on technology or anything, but what I absolutely love about Command, like legitly, when Command was built, like opportunities, there's an agent in our office that she plays a game of moving the boxes.
Yeah.
It's a game for her. She puts it into Cultivate and she moves the boxes through the whole process. And then when they close out, there's a whole set of other boxes so that there's a checklist to follow with that. You want to know why? Because she never misses an opportunity for a referral.
Right, so
Right.
it was theirs.
Absolutely.
I love that. I love that.
Oh.
So the leverage is who, how, and what.
Right.
Can you define those things right now? The who, it's usually you. The how, by tuning in, by plugging in, by doing your lead gen. And the how.
Absolutely.
And the what. Those are your systems and tools. That's your command.
Right. And we can't talk about leverage without talking about red light, green light. Right?
Yes. And that all comes back to also part of that 80-20 principle all the time, all day long. And who's read The One Thing? Has anybody read? I love The One Thing. One of my old friends at the Market Center, Tony Wallace, is a One Thing coach. He helped me and my Market Center tech trainers find our lead domino and made us all cry one day. It was fascinating. It was fascinating that I have never done, until he came into our world, I had never done a 66 challenge correctly, ever.
Absolutely.
And one of the things we talk about when it comes to leverage and the one thing is, what is the one thing you can do this week such that by doing it, everything else would be easier or unnecessary? And that all comes back to leverage, right?
Absolutely.
And red light, green light's more than just financial. It's should I be doing this right now? Is this growing my business? Is this a have to, or is this a want to? And oftentimes we only use red light, green light when it comes to financial decisions.
Absolutely. I love Heidi's. My one thing, get enough sleep so I have the energy to be productive, right?
Yeah. So your 66-day challenge is making sure you go to bed, right? At a good time.
Yep. Absolutely, 100%. You know, and the other thing I think of with red light, green light is there's a little risk to making that first hire. And what does it look like when you have the 6 months? Because here's the deal, and we'll talk about it in the book down the road. When you make that hire, they should be doing enough work that you're making more money. So a lot of us are afraid to jump. They have those 6 months of funds, but they don't make the jump because they're like, well, what if? You don't need to have the full year's salary. So, you know, if you're not doing the series for growth and building your business, definitely do that, the leverage series, because at the end of the day, you're only as good, you only have so many minutes in your day. It's time or money. Which one are you giving up, right? And leverage supports you on that. Just do it strategically and do it right. Before we move on to MREA goals, anything you want to share on the 3 L's that we may have missed?
Heidi put something really good in the chat. It's the same for hiring a coach. You can't afford to not have a coach, and I fully believe in that. Heidi, go ahead.
So I just got a lead just now for somebody that needs a broker price opinion. So obviously if I do a broker price opinion and I'm getting paid for it, I can't get the listing, yet it's an opportunity and a risk that I can talk to that owner and potentially convince him to list his property. Because it sounds like if he wants a price, then he's looking for the future thought of selling. So I can always forward the lead and get a referral fee, but it's, you know, that's all, it just goes to the risk, and it's a lead, and it's all that.
Absolutely. And not all leads are treated equally, or are they equally? Absolutely. Anything else you want to add, Brooke?
No, I think we're good. If you haven't read the one thing, pick it up.
Absolutely. So we're moving on to page 107, and actually really 108 and 109. So the 8 goal categories of the millionaire real estate, right? There's lead generated, leads, right? Listings, contracts written, contracts closed, money, people, system, tools, personal education. 2018, 2019, when I got back, I've been in leadership for a long time. 2018, 2019, I sold real estate. I knew my numbers. Like I knew 3,000 dials, 849 conversations. I went on probably 45 appointments, listed 27 properties, sold 30. Like I knew my numbers, because at the end of the day, there's all this other stuff. And when you are on top of your numbers, you know your conversion and you know all of that stuff. So I'm really passionate about this one, because if you don't know this, you're not going to build a business by design. Who knows their numbers to that level? Like who can say today, since January 1st, I made X amount of dials, I've talked to X amount of people, and like who can share that?
Not many. And you guys aren't alone, by the way. But Command can make this easier for you, especially using the Command app. All these things are in one place. One place. If you get off the phone, you start your call in the Command app, it says, would you like to log this activity? Yup.
Yep.
And so now you're adding to your reporting. So as you start using smart plans and leveraging the tools, you have your goals in Command, it starts to tell you where you are on track to your goal. Yeah. And oh, by the way, even more importantly, as you put people in and you use lead source, you're going to start seeing where your business actually comes from. Right? So you know, if I'm paying, and this always boggles my mind, because I come from a different like I came from a marketing world where we had to know our return on investment, because I had to present to a board to say why something failed. If you are spending money on leads or marketing or different things, you really need to know as a business owner, am I getting my return on investment, or is this not a good lead generation source? Or do I not have the follow-up tools?
right?
Marlene, KPA is the Keller Personality Assessment. Is that what it's called? Yeah. KPA. I always call it a KPI. If you have not done it, talk to your market center leadership and they will set it up for you. It's fun.
You know, and there's goal numbers and there's actual numbers, right? At the beginning of the year, we all set goals. And to how we started this conversation at the beginning with the calculator, right? Those goals, Brooke said 20 transactions. And then miraculously, all these other things populated out magically because we don't math here. And at the end of the day, what did it do? It set our goals. So the question is, you know, when we look at our week, are we hitting our goals? And the one thing I will also say, Brooke, the activity tracker,
Mm-hmm. Whether you're
Like-
solo or on a team,
right?
it's your personal accountability piece. It will
Yeah.
yell at you.
Yeah. And so if you're like, I have no idea where to start, I don't know, I have no idea where to track. Reach out to your MCTT. They will support you and walk you through it. And just go to command, and there's this beautiful activity tracker. There's beautiful goal setting. You just go in. It's magic how it works for you. Anything you want to add on what command does to really support the goal and the actual?
Well, it just shows you growth too, right? So, you know, the book is going to tell us how to break it down. But then by using and tracking and logging, you can then tie your actions to results. And I think we are such high performing individuals, right? Is anybody feeling a little burnt out right now? Tired that we're not possibly hitting our goals? We only celebrate big endings as sales. I've been in sales my whole life. You focus on the closings, but we don't focus on the in-betweenies, right? That, hey, we made the phone calls. Hey, we got the appointments. Man, that's what opportunities does. That's what activity tracking does, because we get to celebrate the day and the work we're doing instead of just end results, because that's how we burn out.
Right. So, and two things on that. Brad, our team leader up in Portland, Maine, he gets so upset with us because we literally spend 1 minute celebrating and 59 minutes talking about what we could do better, right? And if you look at the gap in the gain, there's a book called The Gap in the Gain, which like literally mirrors this conversation. To Brooke's point of celebrating the little, right? So the gain is that 5-year goal, that 1-year goal, that 3-year goal, whatever it is, right? And then there's that middle section. Well, we don't celebrate in the gap, and we really need to spend time celebrating in the gap, because the celebration in the gap is, I got 300 people in my database. I have 600 more to go, right? Those little celebrations are what's going to keep you from the burnout, because it's very easy, especially in the markets that we're in and everything else we have going on. This helps you celebrate. So talk to me about, you know, when we look at the third goal, contracts written. Right now on the buyer side, we're not going to discuss that, right? On the seller side, we list a property, we get an offer, right? And yet, what's our conversion rate? On the buyer side, right now, our conversion rate might be 1 out of 12, 1 out of 4, 1 out of 27, right? On the list side, even though we accept offers right away and we get offers in 24, 48 hours, there's opportunity to fall out, right? Where do we work? Where do we fall out in the fact that, well, the buyer rushed to write an offer because they didn't want to lose it. And now they did building inspections, they had second thoughts, and they walked away. Like, how many of us as listing agents have experienced that in today's market, right? So what is your conversion rate? Number of units written, total volume written, gross income, like where are we at with those numbers? Contracts closed, right?
And
The
here's
money-
the thing too, guys. These are like, we throw out a lot of Kellerisms. We throw out a lot of vocab here on these things. If any of this is twisting you up, please pull your leadership aside, or your MCTT, or your productivity. Anyone will talk to you about this and make sure you understand just why these things are so important as a business owner.
Right. How many of you have a written business plan? A documented written business plan? All right, so let's just start there, right? My mission, my goal is to make $150,000 net after paying the company. Okay. Well, let's back in those numbers. What is my average sale price? What is my average commission? And if you're newer to the business, fantastic. Find somebody that's been in the business for a while or use your company stats. Again, to Brooke's point, go to a productivity coach, go to an MCTT. They can absolutely support you and help you with that. The money piece. There's a lot of people that are successful agents and yet are broke, right? Because they always say, we see tons of agents cross the stage at all of these companies, and yet if you looked at their tax return, what does that tax return really say, right? So when we look at the money, when we look at how much money did we make, right? And we'll dive into this so much more in the economic model. We should be paying attention to how much did it cost for me to get that piece of business, right? What was the cost? Because, and we won't name the company that shall not be named, charges a 38% commission. You know, there's two of them out there right now that charge a referral fee of 38%. So when you look at this model, how much did it cost to get you that piece of business? And then because it cost you that much money, what's your return on investment? When we look at budget, you know, the 30, 30, 40. What's the 30, 30, 40, Brooke? Sorry, you're chewing.
Yeah, I had a lightheaded moment. The 30-30 dust from all the little trail mix I was eating. It's a way for us to figure out smaller goals to bigger goals. I'm going to actually pull one up and show you guys what it is while Tiffany chats. This is how we do all kinds of goal planning.
Yep. It's just, where do we lie, right? At the end of the day, when we're looking at our numbers, in the world of money, it's 30% cost of sale, 30% of expenses, and 40% of profit.
40%. Yep.
Absolutely. You all right over there, Brooke?
Yep, now I am.
Somebody.
That's what I get for chewing up on a class, but I was starving. And we all know a hungry Brooke is not a fun Brooke.
Do you have something you want to share on now?
Nope, I just love this because it also shows us if not all of us come to this world with business know-how. We may have come from worlds where we didn't have to worry about having business cards, shaking hands, having a business checking, savings, taxes, mileage, right? So I like that this is just a plan to help you know what you should be accounting for.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Absolutely.
It's so simple.
And then agent compensation, right? What is your worth? What is your professional fee? Are we spending money by just discounting our commission from the beginning? And obviously we can't talk commissions because our companies are independently owned and operated. However, when you look at what are you charging for a commission? Are you taking a listing, and I know none of us would do this, but are you taking a listing at 3.5% and then spending $10,000 on different marketing or whatever the number is, right? Like, what are you doing financially and how is that impacting your money? Because again, the biggest piece about this, the work smarter, not harder. If we discount what our worth is and what our professional fee is, we have to do more transactions. It's hard enough to do transactions now. Let's double that because we're discounting, right? What does that look like?
That's not good. We should not be discounting.
Right. Oh, yeah. We could have a whole hour conversation.
Oh, we could have a whole thing.
And then let's talk about the people. Who do you have to become in order to realize what you desire to realize? You know? What consulting are you doing? To Heidi's point, what coaching are you doing? What training are you doing? How are you investing in you? You know, I drive 45 minutes to the office and 45 minutes home. So I literally read 2 books, well, listen to 2 books a week, right?
Same.
So, and then, go ahead, Heidi.
Since I'm very, very, very light on closings this year, I work really hard on my mindset because I feel like that's the one thing I can control and the one thing that I'm actually really good at controlling. So that's like my personal win that I stay focused on.
Yeah.
So that's like my little like praising myself every day for doing that because like I have control of what comes out of my mouth, what my ears are listening to, what I'm saying. So, and my energy level. And so I've got to say for as little business as I've gotten, I'm really proud of myself for my mindset.
Right. Well, and, you know, and there's 2 ways you can move forward. You could move forward with the woe is me, or you could figure out what's between your head, and you might be late right now and yet keep doing what needs to be done and the results show up, right?
Well, it's that page 24 in Shift that I posted about, right? It's a checkup from the neck up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a checkup from the neck up. Am I in the right smile? Fake it till you make it. It's that. Am I in the right mindset? And it's funny. Before I came to KW, like affirmations, those different things, I was like, all right, okay. I didn't come from a positive work culture, so I was like, you want me to scream in the mirror in the morning that I'm a money magnet? I don't think I can do this, right? Like, what did I just join? But honestly, after taking Bold, after taking these classes, after doing these things, I might not choose I'm a money magnet, but I do choose other affirmations because those Bold laws are important because what you do focus on expands. If you are coming from scarcity mindset, you're never going to pull in abundance.
Yeah.
And we
Well,
check up from the neck up.
and the money magnet thing, for those that remember old school Bold, when they like literally threw the dollars on you, the only thing I thought about is all the germs and bacteria.
Oh,
that were landing
I
on
know. I know. Trust me.
I'm all set. Absolutely. So training, what are you doing in the market center? Like, what training opportunities? How many every single week they spend some time in training?
I know Corinna does. I see her all the time.
Yeah.
I see a bunch of our friends on here a lot.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think I do too much.
There is sometimes a fine line. As long as but you've got to take something out of it and do it right away.
Yeah. So here's what I've learned. I coach with Matt Teeter. For those, he's a very intimidating Matt's coach who always keeps me on my toes, and I love every second of it, right? So one thing that he said is, it's great that you're taking in all this knowledge, and where is the 15 minutes or 30 minutes of white space in your calendar where you're putting think time? Because like the other day I listened to 3 hours of podcasts and then went right into meetings and never decompressed and said, okay, based on what I heard, what I saw, I'm taking the following actions. Never happened. And that doesn't feel good. And just so everybody knows, you only retain 20% of what you hear at any given point. So if you come to these classes, just know that you're only gonna keep 20% of the content that you were delivered. So you have to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back.
Mhm.
The consulting piece. Who in the market center or who in your life are you reaching out to say, hey, help me with this, consult with me with this? Who are you coaching with, right? Who's that person that when you just want to throw in the towel is there to be like, hey, don't do that. It's just a moment in time and you'll get through it. These are all like huge, important things, especially as we transition in the market and where the world's going. What else? And then the recruiting,
Yeah, who are you bringing onto your team to free you up so you can get back to doing the things that you do best, which should be lead gen, right?
Yeah.
But all these systems, these models, if we're not able to track it, we're not able to grow, we're not able to duplicate those things and see it, how we can scale it. We use that term so often, right? It's got to be scalable, scalability. But what does that really mean? It means here's my opportunities. I want to go back to calling people and I want you to do all the paperwork. Let's get bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's as simple as you can get with scalability.
Yeah.
The other thing is we chase the shiny objects a lot, right? We chase the shiny object. They promise me leads. If I pay for this zip code, I'll get XYZ. Right? There's all these things we do. Does anybody know how to trap a raccoon? I for sure thought you, my maniac, would know this.
I'm from Jersey. Let's just go there.
Everybody, nobody read the Red Ferns growing up? You put something shiny inside of a jar that they cannot get out because they will never let it go. That's how you trap a raccoon.
You know
Put
how
a
I
jar
trap
with something big and shiny in it that they cannot get out, and they'll never let it go. That's what our agents are doing. So they're not putting systems into place. So then they're looking for shiny objects to pay for, to take away the pain, instead of following models, following systems. They're getting creative. I don't want a bunch of raccoons.
You do realize now I'm gonna have to go trap a raccoon, right?
Don't do that. It's mean.
I would literally just, in Jersey World, you have a trash can, you leave the lid open and you throw the lid down.
They're
Problem
called
solved.
trash pandas for a reason. They're trash pandas.
Absolutely. Then we have the seventh goal, right? Systems and tools. And the one thing that like Brooke and I are best friends on is what's the system? What's the tool? How do we make this simple? How do we, if it's something that you do over and over again, what's the system? How can you put it into a tool so that you don't ever have to do it again? Or who should be the other person that does it for you? You
Hey,
know,
Brooke, to your statement, I don't know the animal, but I believe it's either in the Amazon or somewhere. There's a little monkey. And the only way the monkey is fast, you can't catch the monkey. There's nothing you can do with the monkey. So what they've learned is that they just take a jar, like a Coke bottle. They put a peanut in the peanut fully wrapped in the shell. And the monkey will come down when no one's looking, squeeze his little hand in there, grab that peanut. But because his desire for the peanut, he never lets go of the peanut and he gets trapped. And all they had to do to be untrapped is let go of the peanut.
Right? That's what a raccoon does.
He won't let go of the peanut.
They won't let go of the shiny object. And if they just let go, they could get their arm out of this thing. Go ahead, Heidi.
And be gone.
Yep.
So part of the shiny object thing I think of as creativity. And so I have heard Gary Keller or read Gary Keller say that when you have a system, you have to work the system long enough that then you either realize that you can tweak the system or you're just giving it the time to actually work for you. So because my business has been like really light with actual transactions, I've noticed that I've also cut down on my creativity because I'm trusting those systems more, like I'm leaning on them.
absolutely. Yep. Because here's the other piece, Brooke. Do we have to reinvent the wheel?
No.
Has it been created before us?
Yes.
Do we just have to trust it?
Yes.
Right? But
I mean, what year was this book written and we're still talking about it?
And you know, the funny thing, it's more relevant today than it was the first day I read it. Right? Like, and I don't know if it's been said in the last two classes, and you should be reading this book 10 times. If you have not read this book 10 times, you have not mastered it. So read this book 10 times. So systems and tools. The blessing of the founder of this company is he is a DC personality. For those that know DISC, he's a driver. And he loves systems and he loves processes, and that's how he drives, right? So when he was like, we're building command and we're going to build it by the agent, it was because he knew that there is a system and a process to get our job done and to make our life simpler. And how do we do that? And it starts with the database, right? So what's your system around the database? We have the do the database too. Does everybody know what to do the database too is?
We're getting a ton of head nods. It's one of my favorites. I
Yeah.
built such great habits. Do you have client intake forms where you get everything? Do you have follow-up plans? Is that part of your opportunities and nurture? There's all these little things. And then when you know, one of the things they ask us as RTTs, labs advisors, and people who try to break the products, if I give them feedback on something or I take something you feel strongly about and go to them, they usually ask me, what real estate problem are you trying to solve here?
Yep.
I don't like that question because it hurts. I don't like it. What real estate problem are you trying to solve with this?
Well, and let's also say, you know, when they work on command and it may be a little slow for a minute, is that truly impacting your business? Like, this is a tool to support you in business. It is not the end all be all of making it happen, right? Because at the end of the day, if the electricity went out for 2 weeks, we'd have bigger problems, and yet you would still be able to go out and lead generate. This supports it, right? So these systems and these tools, no matter what they are, it's a support of the business to make it easier for you to do your one thing. And what is our one thing? Well, let's even go back. What's the job description of a real estate agent?
Lead generate.
Put it in the chat. What's the five? Put it in the chat. What's the job description of a real estate agent?
It's not crying in your car. Just so you know.
It may be.
It's definitely not crying in your car. But this is the time of the year you should be picking out all those open house sign-in sheets that are crunched and have boot marks on them. So this is a good time to do that.
I have lead generating, at lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiate, script and role play, right? That is the job of a real estate agent. So if you're doing anything other than that, are you focused in your 20%? Right? And these systems and tools and whatever leverage you put into your world really supports you so that you could stay in those 5 key areas. We've really talked about personal education through this whole thing, right? So what I love about this little chapter is it says, what knowledge do I need to learn? What skills do I need to acquire, right? Are we just sitting in a class to sit into a class? Like,
Because somebody told you you need to go to coaching, or you have to go to the series, or you have to sign up, or you have to take Ignite.
yeah. So when you look at showing up, one, did you do the 5 jobs of a real estate agent, or are they in your calendar? And, you know, if they're not, should you be in that class? 100%. So that's really, you know, I love, for those that have not read the book, in the back of every book, there is this little think section, points to remember, think a million, right? So even if you didn't read the whole chapter, you could just go here, and how you think matters. Think big at the beginning is like building a 20-lane highway for your vision of the future.
I think if that had happened in Boston, our traffic wouldn't suck as bad down here.
Right? I left Jersey. When I left Jersey, I grew up in Jersey, and we would be able to get from my house to the beach in 15 minutes. When I left Jersey, it took an hour and 22 minutes. Because Route 35, for those that have ever been down there, was never planned for the amount of traffic that it delivers. So when you look at your business, are you planning today for what you look at 5 to 10 years from now? You know, work to learn before you work to earn, right? The learning will more than make up any lost time, and will in fact earn your money in the end. One of Brad's favorite statements is you have to give up to go up, right? So, right? I know it took me a really long time to understand what he meant by that. And now I do, because, you know, you may have to give up a little bit of income. You may have to give up a little bit of time. And by doing that, your next level, you're going to go up. You know, the 9 ways a millionaire real estate agent thinks. Think powered by a big why. Who has a big why?
We talked about that yesterday, right, guys? Or day before? I feel like they all run in together. We talked about that as a group, knowing your big why. And
Yeah.
why it was so important to know a big why.
Think big goals and big models. Big goals and big models foster big habits early and pull you through smaller goals on the way to greater things. Do you know how many blind spots I have in my world? And like every time I turn around and I'm like, I think I got it. And then somebody comes into my life is like, bam, you don't have the right habit. And I have to make a change. Exhausting. Just when I think I had it. You know, think possibilities. What are the possibilities? Believe that anything is possible and then act as though it were impossible to fail, right?
Vision boards.
Right? And just on this one, like 87%, I believe it's 87% of what we worry about never comes to fruition.
What if? Those what if is a yucky place to live.
Yeah.
I don't like living in what ifs. That is
No.
anxiety that I don't need to add to my world. What if nobody shows up to a training? What if I get a flat tire on the way? What if nobody likes me? What if I don't understand? What if I make a mistake?
Yep. And then there's a percentage of that, and I'll say just 10% that may actually come into fruition, right? And then, but you have a solution for it.
Mhm.
And then there's probably 2%, you know what? This is pretty big and I'll have to do something with it. But 2% is a far cry from thinking 100% of everything's going to go wrong. Just saying.
It is.
Heidi,
How many of you felt that when you hang up the phone, you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
right? Absolutely.
You can flip everything around though and say, what if so many people come to my open house that I'm not even sure what to do with it? Or because you can flip everything to the positive as if it's going to be bigger than you can handle. And then it just causes you to like start thinking bigger and planning ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
What if everybody's represented? Great. I get to make that many more friends as brokers.
Well, and let's just talk about passive income through profit share.
Profit share.
Right? Passive income. So if everyone's represented, what a great opportunity to call every agent and tell them how awesome their buyer was, what they think about it, and how are things going in your business, right? Great opportunity. Think action. When you are ready, anything short of action is just plain inappropriate. Shut up, get up, and giddy up.
I want
Right?
that on a shirt, those three.
Think without fear. Failed attempts are not the same thing as failure, so never fear the attempt itself. The only time you can ever truly fail is if you give up or refuse to try at all. And we have heard this all the time, right?
Fail forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Fail forward and fail forward fast.
Yep.
Yep. Think progress. Success is in the numbers. The quality is in the quantity, and achievement often comes to the person who makes the most attempts. That's the point. How do I get to 100 no's as quickly as possible? Because I know somewhere between those 100 no's is a yes. Think competitively and strategically. Treat it like a game and learn to think strategically. Winners dare to compete. Anybody
That's
on
the-
the screen competitive?
No. But that's that opportunities game Tiffany was talking about, where it's how can I get them from the nurture to the appointment and so on and so on. That's your Monopoly board. By the way, I will no longer play Monopoly with any of you. I've been burned too many times.
Right? Think standards. You have standards. Your challenge is to learn to communicate them clearly and to instill them in your team. Not all business is equal. Not all business should be accepted. If it doesn't meet your standards, and let me just give you, here's this 23 years of experience showing up right here. How many times have you taken a listing and you're like, that's $40,000 overpriced. I'll get a price reduction. You don't realize that right now because of the market we're in, but there will be a day. So when you look at that, you're like, it's only 40,000. You know how many sleepless nights, how many stressed out seller calls you handled because you decided to take a listing that was not within your standard? So pay attention to your standards. Think service. Know the purpose of your profession. Articulate the details of your value proposition and deliver it with fiduciary commitment, right? Fiduciary, huge word.
Not
Yeah.
functionary, fiduciary.
Anybody can be functionary.
Mhm.
Not anybody can be fiduciary. The 80-20 rule is always at work at leads, listings, and leverage. 20% of your focus that ultimately gives you 80% of your results. Lead generation is never a passive activity. Marketing is not lead generation.
Sticking a sign in the ground is not lead generation.
Yeah. Putting a Facebook post out is not lead generation. It may, I always relate this to, you could take your fishing pole and you could throw your fishing pole out and you could fish for that fish. Or you could throw a net out there and just hope that a fish falls into your net. Come on now.
Wait, you mean hope and prayers is not a business plan?
No, not in any fashion. You know, listings are the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity in real estate. You want to win big in this business, list as many properties as you possibly can. Leverage is the who, the how, and what of a powerful real estate sales team. Like leverage. Don't be like Tiffany, who until she was 46 years old said, I am the leverage. I am not the leverage. And then bring the power of goal categories in your business. Goal setting becomes easier and more effective when you have a consistent set of goal categories. They literally drew out the goal categories if you want more or different. But again, are you being creative or are you following the system, right? And then finally, business people know their numbers. They know their goal numbers and they actual numbers, and so should you. The 8 goal categories of the millionaire real estate agent: leads generated, listings, contracts written, contracts closed, your money, your people, your systems, your tools, and your education, right? I love this chapter. Like,
I do too. I do too, because it's, if we were just to talk about this one, if you were to like just print this out and put it on a poster and just these were your affirmations almost daily, we'd all be in different places. Mastering the 80-20 rule is not easy necessarily, because we all feel that the things we're doing are building our business. Challenge you to take a couple weeks, have a scratch pad next to you, and as you're doing something, write it down. Now, did that thing take you out of lead gen? Highlight it. Highlight everything that takes you out of lead gen and play red light, green light with it. Can it be moved to a different part of the day? Could you have let the phone go to voicemail, continued with your lead gen, or did this call derail you for the whole day? Right? And with my newer agents, you often see that a bad day equals a bad career in real estate. We're going to have problems. We're going to have to learn how to shift and take care of those things and fail forward. But when you have these tools to fall back on, this is your net. This is what's going to spring you right back up. And it is the springiest net you've ever met. Like, get ready to do a back triple Lundy in the air. If you know the reference to that, this is your safety net that bounces you back. It doesn't catch you. It flips you up in the air and throws you right back on your feet.
yep. Here's the other really cool thing. At any given moment in time, you could change the direction you're going. So if you turn around and for the last 5 days, you have not done what you feel you should have done, stop, take a deep breath, and switch direction. Right?
Breathe. We don't breathe enough in this business.
Yeah. I'm a very shallow breather because, oh my God.
I also am suffering from allergies. I don't know if anybody's getting hit hard right now, but I'm like open mouth breather and I hate it right now, but
Well, I am honored to hang out with you guys for an hour and go over this. Does anyone have any questions, any ahas, anything they want to share?
Yes,
I did
I
throw
do.
the homework in too, by the way, guys. It's in the chat.
I just had a quick question. When you showed the think page in the book, I'm trying to figure out where it is.
Oh,
I was just reviewing the points to remember, but that was section 3, which starts, I believe, page 67.
Oh, it looked like you were at the back of the book, so.
Oh,
okay.
no, we were on, it's at the end of every chapter, they have points to remember. Mine's on 116. I have a wee bit different book. Nerd trick, take it to Staples and ask them to bind it so that you're not cracking the binding. It's like $6 for sanity, man.
So they
And
can do the whole book and
Any book.
Yeah.
really?
See,
Yep.
mine,
Yeah, I was looking at your binders saying, wow, where'd you get that?
Yeah.
Staples. And if you bring them a whole bunch, you get a discount. So like my shift is this way, my one thing.
Wow, that's nice. Thank you very much.
yeah.
There's your aha for the day.
Yep. I love my binders. Absolutely. What else? What else
That's
you
my
got?
knowledge for the day. Thank you, Brooke.
You're welcome. All right, guys, check the schedule because some of us are at Mega Leadership next week. We thank you so much, so much for joining us. Make sure you are following the growth page. I'm going to put all my notes up from today so you have them, the links, the ahas, the little things. We can't wait to see you on the next section. Do your homework, pages 128 to 172.
All right.
Bye.
Everybody,
Bye.
Have a
Nancy.
productive weekend.
have a nice weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.